go to body language expert Judi James. Hi, Judi.
Hi, Kevin.
Can we just have a look at, let's just have a look at a bit of Phil talking to the Sun's Clemmy Moody, can we?
We became mates. And then one day, something happened that just changed it.
There were accusations that you groomed him. I'm just going to let you answer the question.
I did not. I did not.
Yeah.
There is no question I did a bad thing. Unprofessional. First time. I know I did that.
Yeah.
The last time we had a conversation was when I texted Holly and said, don't reply. This is after the statement last week. Don't reply. You're probably not allowed to. But I am deeply, deeply sorry that I lied to you.
Well, Judi, your thoughts on what Phillip looked like there? We saw him sort of nervously sucking on his vape. He looks very haggard and drawn. Body language-wise, what was he telling us?
Yeah, I mean, this was an inherently horrible watch, Kevin. It particularly this because the angle of the camera, we were looking down on him, so we got the large eyes. He looked crushed. He looked very submissive. When he looked up, his eyes had got a pleading expression. Do you know, Kevin, it reminded me, and it was almost like a physical feeling of when there's been a hunt going on, a sort of a blood-curdling hunt going on, and then the prey gets cornered. This is what he looks like.
Yeah.
So he's been cornered, and it's kind of just a guy. Now, the vape, I would get he was using it on his BBC interview. It's this squeezing and massaging of it as well. This would be a self-comfort ritual. It's a bit like a kid might suck its thumb. It's something that he would be doing to make himself just feel a little bit less distressed. And even when it was there, held between his knees. But
it's an indication, Judi, of just what a terrible state he's in. Nigel,
honestly,
I don't think there's any problem with him vaping. People saying, oh, that's a bad look. I mean, he doesn't really have to worry about a bad look, but it does indicate just how nervous and what a terrible state he's in, right?
It does. I mean, there were several signals of a distress throughout both of the interviews that I watched. I mean, that was one of them. But, I mean, we were seeing the mouth clamp. His hands were shaking and fluttering as well. And there were also signals, I mean, verbally and non-verbally, how many times does somebody have to say that they were thinking of ending it or comparing themselves to Caroline Flack, you know, saying things like, how much more of this am I supposed to take? I think it's important because his body language did not do anything to not be congruent with that message. And I think there comes a time when maybe just take that at face value. And this is a guy in, I would imagine, deep distress. That's the way that he came across.
And he's pleading with us, give me a break.
You can see it in his eyes. I mean, you know, the BBC interviewed, it looked a bit more like one of those royal interviews or a political interview, the way that he was sitting face to face. He had a sort of demeanour of trying to look calm, but this one, we're seeing a self-diminished man. There was no pomp, there was none of the usual Phillip Schofield, slightly alpha look here at all.
So he's clearly very chastened by what has happened.
And a lot of you, and you saw it there in the clip, when he talks about, when he apologises, he actually displays anger. His blink rate increases. He's got the on. He's angry with himself is what he's telling us. So, yes, absolute distress, anger. And when he was speaking about, if it wasn't for my girls, I wouldn't be here now, we got a double-handed precision gesture. And that made it look deeply emphatic. And as I say, I think we ignore that really at our peril and his peril.
I mean, you're quite right, Judi. I mean, you're the expert, but with all due respect, you don't need to be an expert to see just what a level of distress Phillip Schofield is in. But your expert insight was very well received and good to hear. Thank you very much, Judi. That's Judi James, body language expert.